Okay, going to Kansas City. Big Kelce with Taylor Swift. I mentioned at the top there, they are Kissing. He has somewhat confirmed that on his show New Heights with his brother Jason Kelce this past week. And the Chiefs actually won too, in case you didn't hear. They had a really big game, beating the tar out of the Chicago Bears 41-3, I think it was. It's a pretty ugly one for Chicago. Obviously a great showing for old Kelce in front of T-Swift. When we look at the Chiefs side, I mean, in terms of them for fantasy football, you start Travis Kelce, you start Patrick Mahomes. I don't think you can really start any of these receivers right now. None of them have more than 12% of the team's targets through 3 weeks. No bueno. We look at Marquez Valdes-Scantling and Sky Moore. They've run the most routes, but only at 65% of the team's snaps, and no other wide receiver on the Chiefs is over 40% snaps. So I'm really having a hard time starting these guys, and I would advise not to. The only one really that deserves to be on rosters, in my opinion, should be Sky Moore for that kind of youthfulness and ability to maybe emerge as the main guy. MVS is going to get some deep targets. He definitely will, but none of it's going to be consistent enough for you to rely on and throw him in even your flex spot. Rashee Rice, he's more of a deep stash if you have a long bench or if you have that roster spot, because he is tied for the lead with Sky Moore among Chiefs wide receivers for targets. We do see the next few matchups. They play the Jets, Minnesota, Denver twice, and the Chargers in the next 5 weeks. It's a pretty cakey schedule against the pass right now. So Rashee Rice is a speculative stash for sure. If I have 5 bench spots in a redraft league, I am not stashing him. If I have 7, maybe 8, which is a massive bench for one of those leagues, I'd put him at the bottom there. But MVS just can't be taking up one of those roster spots. So Sky Moore as a potential, Rashee Rice as a speculative ad, and none of the other wide receivers. And I think the running backs, they're something else, man. Like, we look at that Clyde week, he had 55 yards. He had the touchdown in week 3, but I'm really not falling for that just yet. 9 of his 15 carries came in the fourth quarter with a big lead. So Clyde Edwards-Helaire belongs on waiver wire still. Jerick McKinnon, he's pretty sneaky because he scored the most fantasy points in this backfield in week 3. He had 2 tud bangers in the red zone, so that's nice to see for McKinnon. And he's getting most of that goal line work. But this team's only thrown the ball 7 times inside the 5-yard line compared to 4 rushes. So there's not much meat on that bone for these guys inside the 5, which is where we want to see it. And I don't really want Isaiah Pacheco manning a starting spot on my team either. This was really his first double-digit fantasy point game of the season. First game where he hit 15 touches, and he's taken almost double the snaps over the other 2. So he's not earning touches, even though he's getting most of the snaps at running back. So I don't know, man. Not much target work here for these running backs in Kansas City, and there never really has been. That was the big draw with Clyde coming in when they drafted him. But the lucrative work for these running backs just isn't there. The week 3 performances, those were nice, but I'm not really in on this backfield. Pacheco and McKinnon, maybe last resort flex fill-ins, but that's about it.